Hey folks, Kevin and Thea here, and
How you guys doing?
so we're still getting used to working together on these videos.
We're doing good.
We're doing fantastic. Oh my gosh. So in today's video, it's been a little over a year and 4 months since we purchased the all-wheel drive long-range Tesla Model Y. And I think doing basically a review of how things have been going since it was purchased and all, starting from the very beginning, giving you some insights about it, I thought that'd be good. And since it's actually Thea's car, she's going to handle most of this. I'll interject as necessary.
Yes, all the details and everything.
That's right.
So when you buy a Tesla, you're not going to a dealership. Everything is done online. So you pull up the Tesla and you can choose what you like, and then you give them a down payment on your credit card and etc. I mean, you can build what you want, the color and the motor, you know.
Right. You can do it on your phone. So you can just go to I think it's tesla.com, and you know, it's most people do a little bit of research about the vehicles, their needs and all beforehand, but we did it on a desktop PC when we ordered it, and you know, and this was at a time that I saw that the prices would start to grow up and go up as time went on. And I said, you know, even though Thea was surprised with it because you were a bit surprised, I said, let's just buy the car right now. And so we bought the base color, which is a pearl white, which wasn't an additional charge. We didn't do anything special with it at all. It's got the black interior, and we've shown it in other videos. And you know, and we purchased two additional wall charging units that you know, shortly thereafter, one for her car and one for my truck that I don't have yet, in anticipation. But we've just used it on a 50 amp breaker right now, and it charges up in no time at all here at home. So
It did well with that amount of charging without the special hookup.
Right.
Because I had a goal where I needed charged overnight so I can go to work the next day, and that was a 30-mile each way.
Right.
There. So if it wasn't fully charged, then by the time the work week's at the end, you know, it's taking more than the overnight sleep time to charge it. So the way you hooked it up worked well.
So you can just plug it into a 115, 110, 120 outlet, the standard ones that you have in your kitchen or any place, and it can be a 15 amp or 20 amp breaker to charge the vehicle. It just takes longer periods of time to charge. We did that initially because we got it in September of 2020, but I decided to upgrade it because winters were coming. So range anxiety is a big issue when you're buying an electric vehicle, especially when you're in a cold climate like we're in a very cold climate. And during the winter months here, there's people who aren't used to driving in the winter, and so there's regularly accidents, and you could be sitting in a stalled position, basically, waiting for the wreckers to get there to remove some of the vehicles, and so that can add to it. So it's the winter time. You want to stay nice and comfortable inside the car. You're heating the inside of the car. Those were all things I was thinking of if Thea gets into a situation where she's got to wait in line while they clear out during terrible weather, clearing the road so that she can get to work, and then get the car to drive back, and lo and behold, sometimes there's an accident on the way home as well. So being away for over 12 hours, even though it's just a 30-minute commute in the summertime, or 35-minute commute because she drives faster than I do. But those were things that were on my mind. And one of the things I would say, at the time that we ordered it, it was really my decision to order it for Thea, and the reason because I was looking at it, and the more that I see people not paying attention to the road and all, I don't drive as much, but what I do pay close attention to how distracted drivers are and how much they cross the line, move back and forth in the median. There's more road rage than ever before. So I really decided, since Tesla makes the safest cars that were ever made, it's darn near impossible to roll them over. It's that was the principal reason for me. Besides it being environmentally conscious, a big cost saving in the future, the main reason was safety was number one.
Yep, yep. And after we ordered it online, then the first thing is, of course, to have it shipped from, it was California, right? Fremont?
Yep, Fremont,
To
California.
the other side of the United States, New York we're in. And the place where it was going to be shipped was Westchester County. And so that's probably about a good 5 hours plus there,
Right.
from where we are, which was fine, except they wanted us to come pick it up, I think, originally, and with
Right.
my work schedule, it wasn't going to happen, and they wanted it delivered by the end of the third quarter.
Right. So one of the things,
Then, Kevin
yeah.
will do the story.
So when you have a company like Tesla, and now we're past that phase now, it was really important for the market, the stock market, to see that they beat quarter deliveries and beat quarter margins, the amount of profit that they make, all of those things. And with it's very uncommon. There have been many, many different automotive manufacturers who tried to start up, and all of them had gone under, other than Ford and Tesla, in the last, many, many decades. And one of the challenges with this whole situation is they have to prove themselves. Once they become recognized by the stock market, in other words, it's not just private investors, it's really important for them to show their improvement each quarter. And so as a result, at that time, September of 2020, we're talking about, Tesla was still in that ramping up phase for the Model Y. And it was important for them to say, let's get these cars delivered because for the end of the quarter. So it was just before the end of the month, the sales department that we spoke with said, can we deliver it to you? And I said, sure, at no charge. So they delivered it, and the delivery was absolutely fantastic. We did have some issues. There was probably a week long of issues with the sales department. Now, Tesla was ramping up at this point, and they're trying to establish, and Tesla doesn't have dealerships. They don't have places where you can go and haggle over prices and all at a local dealership, like they're just about in every town across the country. Other car manufacturers, other car dealerships rather. And since there wasn't a dealership, and it's actually illegal because of dealerships' pressures on the legislators, unless you sell a vehicle through a dealership, you can't sell a car in most states in the United States. So we were fortunate that we were able to purchase it in California. It was shipped to Westchester, which is downstate near New York City, and we're way upstate near Lake Ontario. And they agreed to go ahead and ship the car up, so it came on a trailer. And it was a great delivery. The guy was fantastic who delivered the car, took lots of pictures to make sure everything looked good. I also recorded the whole process of the delivery, and we'll go through our inspection here in a minute as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so first thing we did was figure out how to turn it on and off.
Yeah.
Which was
How to get into the car
how to
with
get
the door.
into the car because the handles are flat. Yeah, that's always fun. Then we looked it over really well, and Kevin took all his pictures. There was a couple of little things that were off, and what their, I guess, policy is that if there's things that are not perfect, then they will fix them within an allotted amount of time.
You have to report, so upon delivery, you have to report back to Tesla any any issues that you can find with the car within 3 days, I believe is what it was. And it took us longer to actually do that because Thea was working and I wanted the two of us to experience going through it and all. It all worked out fine, but there were just 3 things that I can recall that were small issues. One was one fleck of dust underneath the clear coat, and the clear coat is that clear paint that goes on top of the paint that's the color that you get. And to me, I didn't care about that at all, and it didn't bother you at all. There was, these have all glass roofs, and there was one spot where I could see scratches in the glass roof, where the cups that pick up the glass roof and put it onto the car during assembly. Just small little scratches where one cup was. I think some dust got in between the cup, the suction cup, and the glass, put a little scratch in it. And when we brought it in to have this addressed, they buffed it out. You'd never know there was anything there. And the only other thing that Thea noticed was that when the wheels are when the car is in perfect alignment heading straight, the steering wheel was just cocked a little bit to the right.
Drove me crazy.
Drove her nuts.
So I guess other people have had that, issue too, because you're driving along and you're going straight, but your hands are like, like this. So they fixed that also.
Yeah. At first I was concerned because when I called them, they said, well, you're supposed to report these things within 3 days. And I said, I know, but believe me, it was there beforehand. And he says, well, it's probably going to need a wheel alignment. I'm thinking, geez, it really hasn't been driven anyplace. There hasn't hit a pothole. But they took care of it, no problem, no charge.
No charge for any of that. Yeah.
And I'll mention this at this point. So since there isn't a dealership, when you're buying a Ford or a GM or Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan, whatever it may be, when you have issues with it, you're basically, in most cases, at least initially, going right back to the dealership to get any adjustments done, get any repairs. Lots of people get their oil changes and brakes, everything done at the dealership as well. There's also many, I'd call them independent garages that do things from oil changes to full-blown mechanic and bodywork stuff. With Tesla, when there's an issue, and we'll go over how you find out about an issue, when there's an issue, since there isn't a dealership around, there is a service center. So our closest service center is in Rochester, New York. Great people, they were fantastic. And if it's relatively minor repair, something that needs to be physically exchanged on the car, often they'll send their mobile service person out. So the service department will go out with the parts that's needed and come to your place of work or to your home, which I think is absolutely wonderful and very, very convenient. Is it a little bit of a hassle for us in Oswego, New York to drive to Rochester, New York? Well, we had to do it one time for the initial adjustments to buff out the glass top. And the second time we'll get to in just a moment to tell you more about the updates. But just so you know, the other thing is, how do you find out that there's potentially something going on? Well, Tesla, with their central processing units in their vehicles, they're always running self-diagnostics and self-tests. So you may get something that shows up on your screen in your car or on your phone app, because you don't have keys for Teslas. You either use your phone app or something that looks like a credit card to get in and out of the vehicle. And just by walking up to it with your phone in your pocket, the doors will open. It'll remember your seat settings, everything for you, your mirror settings and all that. And you just get in and you're set to go. So when there's an issue and the car diagnostics determines, hey, you know what, this needs to be looked at or something needs to be replaced, both an on-screen in the car notification will come up and let you know it's safe to drive or you need to contact someone right away. Same thing with your phone app. The other thing that's amazing about Tesla is that you're constantly getting not just firmware updates in the car itself, but you're getting software updates on your phone as well. So it's like getting a new car every month or 2 months.
Yeah, any car that I had in the past never got better.
Yeah.
You know?
The car just keeps getting better and better, and there's more toys in the car. So I don't spend time in Thea's car.
And I don't look at all the stuff that maybe younger people would look at.
Right. But many people are going, they're not charging at home, they're going to the supercharger network, and they might be there for 20 minutes and they'll watch a Netflix video, or they'll play games on the console, do those sorts of
Or
things.
they have kids and family, that type of thing. So let's see where we left off. So maybe we should tell them about the little bump.
Yep.
So I was at work, and one of my coworkers backed his car into the back bumper of our car, and of course alarms and everything went off and all. And then, speaking of the phone connection, Kevin got a text that there was a problem with the car.
Yeah, I got a security alert on my phone. So I called work and talked to one of the receptionists there, and they said, yes, we know it's there's been a little incident in the parking lot.
So it didn't look bad, although it was like $2,500 worth of repairs.
Yeah.
With that, we ended up going back to Rochester, which is an hour and a half away.
So before that, though, let's just mention one of the things. So I got the security alert on my phone. The car honked the horn and let Thea know as well. So everybody knew that the car had been in an accident. Thea had contacted the police to make an accident report. One of the really beneficial things about having the Tesla is there's cameras all around the car. So from 360-degree angle, you can see exactly what happened. You can read the license plate number of the vehicle that hit it. You can see it from different angles. There are many. There's a website that Wham Bam Tesla Cam, where you can see lots and lots of videos where Teslas were either in accidents or Tesla submitted data, so witnessing other accidents and all. So it's really amazing how many things. And of course, co-workers will go out and dance in front of the car and stuff and all. But it really is a valuable thing. So if you're ever in an incident where someone is claiming something that didn't happen, you have video proof of every single moment that's there.
So that helped out, because when the police woman came, we sat in the car together and watched the video. She goes, well, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. She wrote her report, and then when the his insurance company person adjuster came out, he also got a copy of the video, so they couldn't deny, that. So that worked out, fine. So then there are two things we want to talk about that. The repair shop, being in Rochester, you have to go to, or it's best to go to, a Tesla-approved collision body shop. So we found one called Fesner, which was recommended by the Tesla people out there.
Tesla does it themselves at their service center, but their person who's the head of the body shop does all the repairs was in a motor vehicle accident the week before. So that's the reason that Tesla recommended going to Fesner's. And so we went there. They were fantastic.
Yep, they were fantastic. And we got the loaner car. They didn't have any loaners that were...
No battery electric
all
vehicles.
ICE cars. So they fixed it. Everything worked great. But one thing we wanted to tell you about was diminished value. We had found out about that. So we'll let Kevin do that.
I'll say one other thing, too, is one thing that's really good. We sent the video of the accident to Fesner's. that is how you say their name, right? Fesner's. We sent the video and the insurance adjuster paperwork to Fesner's as well. So the goal of that whole situation was not having to go out to Fesner's and say, okay, we need to order this part, and this part. We had the data, all the data from the car. We had the report from the insurance adjuster from the other person's car insurance company. And through that, they were able to make some assessments, order the parts ahead of time so that it would only be a day or two for them to make the repairs. So that was really it made me feel better that I don't have to drive back and forth to Rochester 2 times.
Right.
So that was an excellent thing. The other thing that I found out by watching his name is Ryan Shaw, and he covers Teslas, and his dad, I believe, is in the auto insurance industry. And he had been in a car accident, and that's when I first heard the term, what was the term?
Diminished value.
Diminished value. So most people realize that when you go to buy a used car, you can check with Carfax or someone else to see, has that car ever been in an accident? And even if it's the most minor damage, I mean, it didn't even chip the paint on this. It cracked one of the lens covers. It was a little bit of buffing out. It was still a couple $1,000s, which the other insurance company covered. But because it had been in an accident, it has a diminished value as a result of that. So we talked to our insurance agent, and he said, geez, he'd never even heard of that. And then we talked to, I corresponded with the insurance adjuster from it's Erie Insurance. It's the company that the coworker was insured through. And he sort of hemmed and hawed, said he didn't know too much about it, and so he had to do it sounded fishy to him, but he did some work and all. And over time, long after the car had been repaired, he sent me an email and saying, well, how about $300? And I had already sent him, if I were to trade in the car to Tesla for a newer model Tesla, and I didn't indicate that it was in an accident, I'd get $2,500 more than if I indicated that it was in an accident. So I said no to them. I said $300 isn't acceptable. So I was going to take them to small claims court, and they did send us a check ultimately for $2,100, was it? Or
Yeah, and change.
And
But
change.
yeah, but we got that this year.
Yeah.
So it took a long time.
Yeah.
And before Kevin even got involved with their insurance company, I was given from one person, called this department, and she didn't know anything. Just the runaround, just trying to push me away, I guess, but
Right.
I got stubborn. And then Kevin started, haunting them too. So
Yeah.
it does exist out there, diminished value. So if you ever need to look it up or anything, it's worthwhile, because if you go to trade in your car, you're going to get a couple $1,000s or more. It matters how much damage,
Right.
less than you normally would.
Yeah. If your car has any report of it ever being in an accident, it is no longer at the same value, even if it were completely repaired with original manufacturing parts, a new paint job, whatever. It has a diminished value, and the value of the vehicle is really important. And if someone else is at fault, you want to be compensated for that.
Yeah. So you want to talk about now?
Well,
Why we like the car?
Well, why don't you say what your applications are for the car? What do you use the car for?
Oh, so originally for the first over a year and 2 months, I just pretty much drove it back and forth, to work on highway. So that was my main purpose. I'm also the shopper, so I would run errands, go to Tractor Supply and get the grain and the pet food and etc. So the car has a tremendous amount of space in it. You wouldn't think that you could fit that much in that car, but you really can. So that's a place, but it's also like a luxury car. It's very comfortable. Everything's wonderful in there. But that's nice. So if you have kids and dogs and things like that, they'll fit comfortably and all.
Yeah, you could, the groceries, the groceries take up hardly any space whatsoever when we get groceries in there, but Thea will go and get, multiple bags, 50-pound bags of grain and bird seed,
and the
dog
big bag
food,
of dog, yep.
the canned cat foods, and
Suet.
so all
Yeah.
sorts of things, and it really doesn't take up much space at all inside the car. Thea would also get loads of cardboard because we do lots of sheet mulching. So the workers at work would set aside cardboard throughout the week and load up the whole back of the car with cardboard. The storage capacity in the Model Y is, it holds as much as my pickup truck holds. I have a 2003 Chevy Avalanche. So it's amazing. As I showed in the video that we did a long time ago, I'm 6'2", and I can lay in the back of there and sleep in the back of the car if the back seats are put down. So she's the go-to person for hauling stuff all the time. I know people use these for camping all the time. Ours, so far it's been commuting back and forth to work and hauling materials back and forth. That's what you've used it for mostly, right?
Yep, that's pretty much it. And all in all, I just love the car. I've had a wide variety of cars over the years. I started driving when I was 17. It's been 51 years of driving since then. I've had several Toyotas. I had the Corolla when I was in college. Then we had the Prius. So we kind of went to hybrid. Before that, we had a Nissan Sentra. We had a Camry that was gas. And then when we got my last Camry, we got the hybrid on that one. Also, I've had 3/4-ton pickup truck. We had the dual pickup truck for the horse trailer, and then the Avalanche. So we've had a lot of vehicles. But I have to say, the one that I feel the safest, it hugs the road. If you have to take off because someone's being a little crazy next to you and not letting you through and all that kind of stuff on the highway, you touch the pedal and you're gone. And it's just a very, very safe feeling. So that's my pleasure with it.
The only thing that we've purchased a couple of things. One was like an organizing pouch for the back of the car. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, like where your grocery bags would fall over.
We got some good protective floor mats that go inside the vehicle as well.
Because of snow, especially because you get it with your boot from the parking lot, and you don't want it melting in the rug.
And there are the simple USB plugs so that you can record all of your security data on a USB thumb drive. I installed SSD drives, solid state drives in it to always have tons of data that can be recorded as well. I think those are the main things. We haven't, we don't have a trailer hitch on this. Many Model Ys do have trailer hitches on them as well. When I've driven it, and when we go together, Thea often will say, "You go ahead and drive." I love autopilot. I just absolutely love autopilot. At first, I was nervous about it when we first got it because we're out at nighttime going on Route 104, which is pretty windy in the areas that we were driving through at nighttime, and the light's coming, and you're wondering, is it going to stay in the lane? Is it going to do the things it's supposed to do? So autopilot it's not full self-driving. It is like a lane keeper. It will do auto steer. If there's a vehicle, it'll maintain a distance between you and the vehicle before you.
And you can set that, how close you want to be. One car length up to 7 car lengths.
Yeah.
So that's important too. And I found, like, even when it wasn't in autopilot, and I was getting off an exit, and maybe it was a little too close to the line, but you know, the car started talking to me like beep, 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 like watch out. Or if you come up too close on somebody at X amount of speed, because I see them with my eyes.
So we're back. I guess this video is going longer than we anticipated it would go, and the camera just shut down on us. So with the autopilot and the features that there are, even when there's no autopilot on, if you turn your turn signal on, it will show you your blind spot. Besides looking in your mirrors and all, it shows you your blind spot. So whenever you turn your turn signals on now, this video would be way too long if we went over all the features of the Tesla. We are invested in Teslas. We're fully invested in Tesla, so we have a bias, but we love this vehicle.
And we've always another part is the environmental thing. We've always had that house that pretty much doesn't need to be heated because the walls are so thicker, and the solar panels and everything that help nature along the way. So getting from using gasoline to this. The other thing too is because the solar panels, we don't really pay anything. The sun charges the car.
Yeah, doesn't cost us anything.
So that's a plus also. One more thing I wanted to say, or we wanted to say, was that maintenance on this car is almost nil. There's no oil. You don't have to change the oil.
Windshield washer fluid. That's all you need to know. Windshield washer fluid.
And of course, we bought snow tires, so you have to change those, in the winter.
Oh, that's the other thing that I didn't mention was I did get wheels and snow tires specifically for the Model Y to put on there, as opposed to using the all-wheel drive tires and wheels that came with it. I'm someone who just likes to pop off the wheels instead of taking the tires and switching them on the rims.
Yeah.
That was the only other
We've done that with all the vehicles. That's just because we have so much snow up here.
Yeah.
And all. So, windshield wiper fluid, that's about it. You got to clean it once in a while. I do that out in the backyard, and that's it.
Yeah. So the value of this vehicle is continually giving us rewards, the way that I look at it. So we don't have the expense of paying for gasoline. You don't have the time. You don't have to plan that in your schedule to go and get gasoline or get out in the inclement weather. So that's really good. You don't have the oil changes. You don't have even the brakes because of both of us have opted to use it as one pedal driving. And with most other vehicles, you use the brake and use the accelerator. So you can have it so you turn up the regenerative potential on it, and what it does do is as you let your foot off of the accelerator, it takes a little while to get used to this, but the car will come to a stop. So you're just using one pedal driving, and that puts more charge into the battery. So it's more energy conservative, and it's less wear to the brakes because you're not using the disc pads up against the disc on the brake and doing more wear. The only additional thing that they recommend we do, since we're in an area where there's lots of salt and sand used during the winter months, is to have the brakes cleaned, because the salt and the sand will do corrosion to the rotors and all and to the system. So that's just one thing that we do.
And the service guy will come to our house, we found out from Syracuse, which is closer, so we don't even have to go to a dealership for that.
Yeah. So it's been a pleasure. It's like always having something new and exciting about the car. It keeps giving us increased value is the way I'd look at it. We haven't been to a supercharger once in 14 months, 15 months, whatever it is. So it's kind of neat that you can charge it at home, and with our solar panels, it doesn't cost us anything for that. So it's kind of a no-brainer for people in our circumstances. Very few people have solar panels on their homes and all at this point, but over the next decade, that's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
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 Anything
So
else you want to say, hon?
that's it. So if you're in the market for a Tesla, it's a good decision.
That's right. Yes. And if you have any comments or questions, hit us up in the description below. We'd really be happy. We just love our Tesla. And I have a Cybertruck on order. Probably won't come until next year, but I'm super pumped to get the Cybertruck when it does show up.
Of course, your 2003 truck has a lot of rust on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Chevy Avalanche was a very, very good vehicle. I went through the process of purchasing that vehicle online, trying to circumvent all the dealer markups and all. But the truth is that you know, it's an internal combustion engine vehicle. There's so many different hardware pieces, and the way that they design these in the northern hemisphere up here in the snow belt, rust gets up into, so brake lines, transmission lines, gas tanks, everything starts to rust, and the quarter panels start rusting out as well. And that's one of the reasons why I like going with vehicles that are trying to reduce the amount of service that you ever need to have as well. So that's it for today's video. It's been a long one. We appreciate you hanging out to the end for those of you who did, and hope you all stay safe and have a wonderful life.
Take care and enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.